Joining me now on stage is Arino, who is the Chief Strategy Officer of New York City's Economic Development Corporation. Thank you so much for being here with us. The City of New York has, of course, been a very valuable partner in our Make Fashion Circular initiative, and it's a great pleasure to have you across the pond to share some of your experiences.
Thank you, thank you. First of all, thank you so much for having me, and I have to say I have been at various events this week around London, given the London Tech Week conference and the London Real Estate Forum, and this is by far the coolest venue and the coolest event. It's dry, it's cozy, it's amazing, you can't beat the smoke. And I feel like I cheated because I just said that at the event I was previously, but I clearly did not know I was coming to this amazing place. So congratulations for an amazing event, and on behalf of the mayor and the City of New York, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. We try and raise the bar.
You do.
So Anna, could you start off by telling us just a little bit about what the Economic Development Corporation actually does? What's top of mind for you guys these days?
Sure. So we are the part of city government that is charged with economic development. So we have a very simple mission, which is to grow jobs. And so top of mind for us over the last 10 years has been how do we grow the innovation economy and the tech economy, and we have made very intentional investments to do so. We are today a capital of design, a capital of technology and innovation, and we have a number of industries across the spectrum, from fashion to financial services to healthcare, and a very dense and complex urban system, cutting across food and waste and mobility. And so we really have a lot of the ingredients that I think provide great opportunities for circular economy, and we're excited to explore that. I think we just released, the city overall just released the strategic plan for the next 4 years as a document called 1YC, in which the city reaffirmed its commitment to becoming a global green city, reaffirmed its commitment to zero waste by 2030, carbon neutrality by 2050, and articulated how circular is a very important roadmap to that. From an economic development perspective, we're doing a number of things that are supporting circular economy businesses and initiatives around the city, and we're excited to explore over the coming years what else we can do, and I'll briefly talk to you about what are our tools and what we're doing. So on the one hand, we manage 66 million square feet of property across the city of New York, business serving infrastructure. A lot of it is industrial spaces that are catering to manufacturing, design, fashion, and the creative economy, lending itself very well to circular economy businesses, and some of, an example of that is Sunset Park. It's an industrial park, it's 97 acres. We own and operate it, and we tenant it. And without, making it a very explicit effort of the campus, we already have a bunch of amazing circular economy businesses. One example is Tailored Industries, which is disrupting the fashion supply chain and is using software and 3D knitting to produce, on-demand garments. We have a lot of brands like the Gap or Zara that, in 1 week, that have a lot of inventory because it's really hard to guess what consumers are going to want in any given week. So this company is disrupting that and producing on-demand garments to reduce inventory for companies. That's an example. In addition to the 66 million square feet of assets and spaces that we manage across the city, we make investments in the innovation ecosystem in New York, and so we have commercial spaces and innovation funds and competitions and challenges across various verticals of technology. Blockchain, AI, cybersecurity, urban technologies. An example is the New Lab at the Brooklyn Navy Yard in Brooklyn, and where we are providing step-out space, flexible, affordable space, programming, support, and community building for urban technology companies in New York. We also have a number of circular economy businesses there, and that's a great platform for that, including Modern Meadows, for example, which does biofabrication of materials that are alternates to animal-grown products. And finally, we sit at the intersection of the private sector and the public sector, and so everything we do is really through public-private partnerships. which are very important, right? So we have currently in our innovation portfolio investments in all of the emerging technologies, AR, VR, blockchain, AI, cybersecurity. And we are leveraging that to advance a circular economy as well. A recent partnership, we became a knowledge partner of a partnership of an initiative called Connect Fashion with one of our local tech companies called Eon. Microsoft, SAP, and some of our major fashion brands are also partners. And the goal of the initiative is to develop a digital identity for products. And it would be amazing and an amazing platform of information to really advance circular economy farther.
That's fantastic. It's really great to hear how integrated circular economy actually is in various sectors across New York, as well as tied to the sort of broader economic development mission. So that's fantastic. I guess let's focus in a little bit on some of the fashion that you mentioned. So going back to that initiative that our organizations actually worked on together, the WearNext campaign, which was really some of the biggest names in fashion collaborating with you to save clothes from landfill. Could you just tell us a little bit more about that for those in the audience that don't know what it is, and just tell us how that campaign has gone?
Yeah, that has been an incredible partnership, and you know, I'll talk a little bit about what we did there. One of the amazing things for that, it was for me that we often work with businesses, and because we're the Economic Development Corporation. This was an opportunity to do a public-facing campaign and really educate consumers, and that is very important, and I think particularly in the US or in a city like New York that is very market-driven and where you don't see the type of sort of top-down mandate and regulation on, you know, circular economy or sustainability or climate change at the federal level that you see in Europe in terms of government support. You know, I think if you can change the behavior of New Yorkers, of the 8.6 million people that live there, you can really make an impact. I mean, I was, you know, kind of so surprised and alarmed by some of the statistics. I learned that the average New Yorker essentially disposes of about 46 pounds of textile every year, and they wear on average a piece of garment just 7 times before they get rid of it. So that is, to me, that is insane, and I think the public facing and education component of this campaign to educate New Yorkers about the opportunity to reuse or swap or sell or recycle textiles was incredible. And so what we did was bring together city infrastructure to advertise and get the message out across the bus shelters in New York City, as well as the links, which are these kiosks that you also have in New York that we rolled out in New York, in London, that we rolled out in 2016 to provide free Wi-Fi and connectivity to all residents. And the Department of Sanitation in New York, which has been a leader for the last 5 years, really, when it comes to recycle, is the largest Department of Sanitation in the world. And they've set the infrastructure for diverting waste from landfill across textiles, e-waste, organics. The organics residential collection program currently collects 123 tons per day, up from about 14 5 years ago when they started making these investments. So they provided a unique platform, which was an interactive map where anybody, our residents, could find where the recycling stations are in New York. There's over 1,000 of them. And it's been really exciting because before we launched the campaign, that website had 3,000 visits. And as of the end of the campaign last week, it had over 110,000 visits. So we are currently in the process of collecting the data and to see, you know, compared to the same period, the campaign lasted about 3 months last year, how much more clothing kind of was recycled, and we're, you know, very excited to share that when we have it.
That's amazing. I remember taking a look at this map. I used to live in New York, and I was amazed by actually how many places there were that you could take your old clothes back to. So it was great to see, and congrats on that initiative. What do you think actually made this initiative unique? You mentioned a little bit about the public-private partnership aspect of it.
Yeah, I think, I mean, what is unique about it, and also very necessary, and again, particularly when it comes to New York City, is that you had You had government at the table, various agencies working together, which is, not always a given, let me tell you, and particularly in a city, New York City government has over 300,000 employees. New York City is a macroeconomy. Our gross city product is over $880 billion, so it's comparable to Switzerland or the Netherlands. So having parts of government working together to really facilitate the kind of innovation that you need is important and great. I think you had companies at the table as well, which is fundamental, and it had great results so far in terms of delivery. So I look forward to building on that, and thank you again for your partnership.
Yeah, it's been great. We're looking forward to it as well. So I guess looking forward, tell us a little bit about what's next for the Economic Development Corporation, whether that's in fashion specifically and the circular economy more broadly as well.
Yeah, I think the future's open, which is really exciting. I think the potential is really great. We just announced together the partnership on making New York's food system circular in collaboration, again, with the Department of Sanitation, the Mayor's Office of Sustainability, yourselves. And that is really interesting for our perspective and from where we sit, because as part of that 66 million square feet of assets that we manage the largest food distribution, wholesale food distribution hub in the city of New York, where 60% of produce and a large percentage of meat and fish go through before it gets delivered to restaurants and households. And we also manage all of the public markets in the city. So the opportunities to innovate and pilot are exciting. As I said, we've been very focused on incubating new business models and innovating, and New York City, after many years of investments and unexpectedly, I think, or we wouldn't have been able to say this 10 years ago, is now the second largest entrepreneurship ecosystem in the world. We received $13.1 billion of VC funding going to New York City companies. And so there's a real opportunity to play at the intersections of the strengths of New York, given the industries that we have there, the design and technology talent that we have there, the companies that we have there, and the funding opportunities for new companies. So for EDC, we'd love to partner with you. We'd love to hear your ideas. We can provide access to city infrastructure. We have assets that we own and manage and operate where we can pilot projects and demonstrations. We're a self-sustaining not-for-profit, and we have our own budget that we can invest in programs. We can bring partners to the table because we play at the intersection. And we have the New York brand. New York, in many ways, New York has that going for it. It's a global media capital, and what happens in New York matters. I'm originally from Spain, and I'm always so surprised because the Spanish newspapers always cover what's happening in New York, and not other cities. But if you make it in New York, I guess that's what the saying goes. You can have a scale impact globally or visibility globally. So. Open call for anybody that wants to partner. If you're a business that's looking to expand, please come talk to us. As part of the industrial park that I mentioned, we are going to be looking for partners to anchor and contribute to an R&D center as part of our Garment hub, which is going to co-locate contract manufacturers and prototype designers. So if you'd like to contribute in any way, please come find me at the end, or myself or Justin, who's somewhere here in the audience.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people coming up to you after this from that offer. Thanks again for joining us and for the continued partnership.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you.